let's talk about body cavities for a minute. Now, you probably never thought anything about a body cavity, but we have this wonderful body cavity where we have a lot of organs that we have in order to digest our food and eliminate our waste. But this is not the way it is with all animals. So a coelomate, that C-O-E-L, means cavity. So coelomates have some sort of cavity. It may not be like ours, but they have some sort of cavity. By definition, it is a fluid-filled cavity formed from mesoderm. Now, this is a segmented worm. This is your earthworm, an annelid. And if you gave a cross-section, you cut him like this, you could look and see the blue is his ectoderm, his skin. The gut is all of this light tan area. And then we have this space, this coelom. Coelom is space, a cavity, that lies between the endoderm and the ectoderm. And in this space, there is going to be organs in there that have everything to do with breathing and digestion. Now, some animals are called pseudocoelomates, and pseudo means fake. So this means they have a fake cavity. Now they have a cavity, it's just a fake one. So the reason it's called fake is because their cavity develops between the mesoderm and the endoderm rather than developing in the mesoderm itself. This animal here looks like a whipworm. So this animal has to be the way the muscles, the mesoderm would be lying right up against that skin and in the inside cavity. This worm has to be moving in order to digest. You know, you're capable of eating a big meal. You can eat steak and baked potato, turkey and dressing, whatever you want, and you don't have to move in order to eat. You can go lay down and take a nap if you want to, and you can still digest your food. A lot of these animals can't do that. And when we talk about our pseudocoelomates, they have this fake cavity, and the cavity is not developing entirely in the mesoderm, but it's between. And so that means these types of animals have to be moving in order to digest their food. Now, if it's an acoelomate, they have no cavity. So this is a planaria worm. He's really cute. He has two little eye spots, and he is very special because he's flat. He's flat as a sheet of paper. And when you do a cross section, this is what he looks like. And he's got a very solid body construction, and there is no fluid-filled cavity in here. So this is all mesoderm. You see there's no hollow space in that mesoderm. So he is called an acoelomate. He has no cavity whatsoever. Now, in development, we have what are called protostomes and deuterostomes. Now, go back to your gastrula, where we've got that side that's pinched in. If that opening, the blastopore, in some animals, that blastopore will become the mouth. If you are an animal in which that opening develops into a mouth, you are called a protostome. Proto means first, stoma means opening. So the mouth is the first opening. If you are in the gastrula stage and that blastopore, the opening, does not develop the mouth but develops the anal opening first, then you are called a deuterostome. Deutero means second and stoma means opening. So in these, the mouth is the second opening and the anal opening is the first. Now, we are deuterostomes. So in development, that blastopore is going to develop into the anus and not to our mouth. The other deuterostome that is with us developmentally like this is the starfish, which is the echinoderms. And echinoderms, like your starfish and your sea urchins, they don't look like us, but in development, When that ball of cells is developing, that blastopore becomes the anal opening, and that puts us closest to him on the evolutionary tree. Never mind, we don't really look like them. I mean, we would look more maybe like a arthropod or insecta or something. We would think, because they've got legs, they've got skeletons, but developmentally wise, we are a lot closer to the echinoderm, which is your starfish and your sea urchin, because of developmentally we develop the anal opening first instead of the mouth. Now, segmentation, this also is a big deal, and I said a little bit about it, but segmented animals have an orderly succession of similar parts. We are segmented. Now, I don't want you to confuse this with jointed. So our arms have joints and our legs have joints. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about segmentation. And segmentation with us is going to be in our vertebra, because we have the similar units of vertebra making up our spinal column. And because of that, you can bend forward and you can bend backwards and side to side. It lends a lot to flexibility. So segmented animals are put together from succession of these similar parts. And so that means that one segment can actually survive damage and they can still live. And it makes their movement more effective, because their movement now can be a lot more flexible and they can move around. So our first segmented animal is going to be the earthworm, and he has external segments. So that he can sustain damage to one of those segments, and there's going to be certain things in each of those segments that are going to be damaged, but he can sustain damage and it's not going to kill the overall organism. So we are segmented as well. Your insects and your bees, they are segmented as well. That's not the same as jointed. So don't think, well, just because I can bend my arms and my legs, I'm segmented. That's not what we're talking about. Our segmentation lies in our spinal cord. All right, sponges. Sponges are going to be our lowest of animals, and they are multicellular, but they do not have tissues. So I don't want you to think that they don't have endoderm, ectoderm, or mesoderm. That's tissue development. Sponges are sessile. Sessile means they're fixed to a surface, and as an adult, they are fixed. As larvae, they may not be fixed. They may be free swimming, but as adults, think of your sponges. They're at the bottom of the ocean and they're fixed to a reef, or they're fixed to the bottom itself. So sessile means that they're fixed. They have no movement as an adult. Their water and their waste materials are expelled from the sponge through a large opening at the top called the osculum. Sponges are filter feeders. They're fixed to a reef and they can't go anywhere to get their food. So water is going to flow in and it is going to flow out. And as it flows out through this very large opening at the top, which is called an osculum.